Welcome to The Route to Revenue, two entrepreneurs sharing the path to curbside cash flow. I'm Ben.
And I'm Mike. We're both founders of two successful recurring revenue businesses in the home services industry, and we've built our companies from startup to profitable and scalable operations.
This is the show for entrepreneurs serious about building sustainable home service businesses. Whether you're starting out, scaling up, or ready to move beyond trading time for money, we share proven strategies for creating predictable monthly revenue streams.
And while our expertise comes from the bin cleaning industry, the systems and principles we discuss work for any recurring revenue home service. Think lawn care, pest control, pool maintenance, and beyond.
Each episode, we break down real-world strategies for customer acquisition, retention, operational efficiency, and building systems that generate consistent income while you step back from daily operations.
Are you ready to transform your home service businesses from a demanding job into a profitable asset? This is The Route to Revenue.
Hey everybody, welcome back and thanks for listening to The Route to Revenue. If you remember last week, we cut the conversation because Mike was a little long-winded, so we ended up splitting this into two parts. So here comes part two. I hope you enjoy the episode.
Because this is where you and I vary a little bit. Day of or next day service?
So you and I have debated this
for people that are brand new, what they're referring to.
Yeah, so you and I have debated this multiple times, and I don't think we're ever going to change each other's minds on this one.
Right.
So just as an explanation, when we talk about day of or next day, when the trash gets collected, we come clean the day of that collection. So we come after the trash has been picked up and clean the cans. And so our guys start a little later in the day and work a little later in the evening. And it seems to work for us. Now, next day would be that the trash company comes on Monday and empties the cans, and then the cleaning company comes by on Tuesday and cleans them. So the advantages there is that you can start at 8 a.m. and, you can probably be through your route by, 4 o'clock. And so you can have some great working hours. Our guys actually like that they start at 11 and work and, they get home, they leave the shop. Sometimes they're there till 7. Most of the time they're done a little early. So today my guess is they'll be out of the shop by 5 o'clock, which I love to see. And they like that. The day of is a competitive advantage that I feel like we have. And I feel like I put in a lot of time and a lot of long hours when it was just me and, trying to go across town to make sure that I could service people on their trash day. And we had to start a little later. And so I was working later and it was hard. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. Now that we have more trucks, it gets easier. And what I find is the more trucks we add, the easier it gets. And so I think that we are taking advantage of our size, and it gives us a real competitive advantage because we don't have to ask a customer to put their cans out the next day or leave them out. And we get a lot of, we already get people saying, oh, my HOA won't let me leave them out that long because it's, they were emptied at 2 and you should be here by 4,
Right.
I can't imagine asking them to leave them out another day. So you're the opposite side of that. Give me your reasoning on that.
Yeah, so I was both. I started doing same day. Then I kind of went to a hybrid. And then I am now mostly next day with some that are same day. So I kind of went hybrid the other direction. When I started, I had another job. So I was working the job. I'd go into the job at 4 in the morning. I'd get done at 2. And then I'd hustle over to the warehouse, pick up the truck, and go. So same day made sense. I'd be at the warehouse at say 3, and I'd run 3 to 7 or whatever the route was that day. And that made a lot of sense, and it was easy, and it was simple, and you could almost guarantee it. When we tried to do this, or when we got to the stage where I was no longer working the other job, and I was just doing this, and started hiring people, the issue became having the bins empty. you might have trash empty, but you wouldn't have recycle, or you might have recycle and you wouldn't have trash. And then you factor that into, I don't know, do you have like the city of Denver does it, or do you have individual haulers?
We have in our service area, I counted the other day, there are more than 10 haulers.
Okay, so you're in the same boat we are.
Yeah.
So we don't have any city of whatever hauler. Oh, I'm sorry, Roswell does, but we don't have anything other than that one. But we have 10 or 12 as well, and for us to try to navigate that was just it seemed like there was no rhyme or reason. Sometimes they'd pick up at 8 or 9. Other times they would run it. I think it was like the drivers just had their own route and they could go, oh, you got to get these 800 stops done or whatever it is, and they would just choose whatever route they wanted to do as a trash hauler. So when we went to next day, there is a little bit of a pushback with regards to the HOA, and we indicate, or we try to advocate that it's just another trash day. It's not the same trash day. It's a second service, and you're paying for that service. Some will say, well, they're really finicky, and so just leave them at your garage door. We'll walk up and get them. Does that take more time? It does, but we also feel we save time not having to zigzag around the county trying to find empty bins, or worse, pulling trash and taking it, or pulling trash and putting it back in, and then I feel like they're not getting a clean bin in that regard. So there's a lot of pushes and whatnot that kind of make it tough. And so now we do have some neighborhoods where we have a great presence in. So I'm thinking of one of my neighborhoods here. We have 38 to 42 stops depending on the month. In that regard, and I can almost guarantee it'll be done by 12:30, the pickups. So we just run a early route. We do a couple, whatever, 20 stops, and then we shoot over to that neighborhood around 12:30 or 1. And we might send 2 trucks there and bust out the 41 or 2 stops real quick, or we'll just set it for 1 truck and do it. But in that regard, we do same day because we can do it. Now the thing so what that consequently means is we've got to run Tuesday to Saturday. So there is a little hardship having to work Saturdays. But we've set our routes up, and actually this probably would be a good idea to talk about on a future podcast, is setting up routes. Because we've set it up a little differently and we've changed it over time, but we've used this system now for 3 years and it's worked out pretty well. But that has helped us to keep the routes, tighter or as tight as possible, and make sure that we are accomplishing what we need to accomplish for our clients.
Right.
So.
Makes sense. Okay. So what about service intervals? What do you guys offer?
We offer the same ones we've been offering pretty much since day one. Monthly, every other month, quarterly, and then one time. We did add every 6 months because there are some people that just want it done twice a year. So those are the 5 that we have. Bi-monthly, the every other month one, I don't know if we really need that, to be fair, but it doesn't matter. We're going through all these neighborhoods anyways, because probably wherever we go every other month, there's somebody getting it done monthly. So, we're going to be there regardless. But we felt that's the best for us. I've toyed with doing an annual, i.e. a recurring every year type of thing, where we go every, whatever day it is. I've not done that because I already have enough trouble sometimes keeping credit cards updated. When they're on a monthly status, I can only imagine in a year from now when we ding their card, it's either going to fail, or B, they've moved sometime in the last year and then they're going to want a refund or what have you. So I've kind of not done that. How about yourself?
We're in the same boat. Now our client facing, our public facing options are monthly, quarterly, and on demand. And then if one of those doesn't fit for someone, then we can offer them, if we've got a quarterly customer that says, hey, I don't need it this often, then we offer them an every 6 month model. I too looked at doing an annual, and honestly, it just didn't make sense to me for the reasons that you already outlined. I can't imagine trying to keep cards going on that. So, Tell me about your pricing.
Pricing. So on our pricing, we started at, what was it, 1995 for the monthly, 27.95 for every other month, and 34.95. Again, that was 7 years ago. We bumped it up to 24.95, 32.95, and then 39.95 in 22, and then we bumped it up again for new signups to 29.95, 37.95, and 44.95 for quarterly. We did that obviously as time went on. I have not done old clients. I haven't moved them up yet. That'll probably happen this spring, just to get everybody in line with everybody. They've kind of got a reprieve for 5 months or so from the new pricing. But you know, everybody. The last time I raised rates, I had 3 cancellations and like 15 messages saying, absolutely, we 100%, we're so happy with your success, yada yada yada. So that's kind of how we've done it. The interesting one was on the one times. You know, I had started at one point at like $60 or something, or $40, I think, when the quarterly was $34.95. And that was a mistake. And then, you know, I was getting so many one times, and I'm like, well, that's not what I want. That's not what this business is about, right? It's recurring revenue. Hey, that's an interesting thing for a podcast. It was recurring at revenue.
Right.
And so, long story short, I went to 50 like 2 weeks later, and then I went to 60, and then that's where it stuck for a little while. And then the difference between $34.95 and 60 was enough, where I would still get some 60s, but I would get mostly the quarterlies and what have you. And I've kind of kept that separation for that. How about yourself?
You know, our pricing, I mean, obviously it's gone up through the years. I think the biggest thing that we do different is most can cleaners, and I see this in landscape companies and other things as well. For us, you know, that additional can. A lot of the philosophy in this industry is, well, we're there anyway, so if I can just add it on, you know, then if a recurring can, if it's, you know, $35 for a monthly stop for 2 cans, then, you know, oh, if I can pick up a third can for $8, I'm winning. I don't buy into that. I think that you're actually leaving money on the table and giving money away by doing that. Now, I understand add-on service if you want to, you know, we include these things, but if you wanted to charge for bringing the cans to the garage, that's an add-on service. If you wanted to charge for deodorizer, that's an add-on service. I understand that. But cleaning a can, you know, our price is what it is. And so the first 2 are $35 for a monthly service, and then it's $17.50 a can after that.
Gotcha.
And
yeah.
I was wondering about that decision for quite some time. And I don't know, I guess 3 or 4 years in, I bought a business, and when I looked at the breakdown between his clients and mine that had 3 cans or more, I had more with multiple cans over the 2 than he did. And so I went, okay, I don't think it's a price thing. And I think that we sell ourselves short by saying, oh, we're here anyway. Let's clean it for $5 or $8 or whatever.
True.
You know.
Yeah.
My philosophy
I'm in the
is
other camp, or I've always been in the other camp, because I know you and I have talked about that a little bit too, but I haven't made a lot of changes in that. But I do like that. Yeah.
That's the one thing on pricing. Go ahead.
What's that?
Go ahead.
What's your difference between one time and your quarterly? Is that
So my quarterly, I just raised to 48 for 2 cans from 45, so not a big. My philosophy is every year I'm going to go up just a little bit, and that way I don't have to do a big price increase all at once. And so I just did that. 48 for 2 for quarterly, and my one time is 90. for
Okay.
two.
Yeah.
So 45 a piece. And I'm toying with raising that, but I'm going to wait until we get into the summer. I mean, the great thing about that one is I can raise it at any point in time.
Right. Right. Nobody knows when it's
Whereas
going to be.
recurring revenue, it's a little different. You kind of need to have some foresight and thought on when and how to raise
Okay.
it. But once I made the big jump to, I think I was at 60 or $70 for two on a on-demand clean. Once I made the jump to 90, then it started to do what I think it should do in a recurring revenue business, which is push people to a recurring service and have them try it.
And that's what we did, or that's how we have ours set up. So at 44.95, we're that's I guess 90, and we're now at 80 for two bins. And so the line is, well, for you sign up for the one time if we're talking to them, which a lot of times with one times we are. They're not.
Right.
That's less where they sign up on the website and just go for it. They usually call in. Well, our CRMs are real quick in saying, for just $10 more, which goes from 80 to 90, you could get clean twice if you sign up for the
Right.
quarterly. It is recurring. It's going to be ongoing. But the hope is if they've seen you twice and they've gotten it done, in 2 weeks and then again in 3 months from then, they're probably going to be hooked. Or at least
Right.
that's the hope.
That's
Otherwise,
the
we've gone
hope.
out there
Yeah.
twice for an extra $10. But again, we're out there anyways. So I've always kept that where the one time and the quarterly is separated by $10 basically. So it's an easy line to say, oh, for $10 more you could have it done twice.
Yeah.
Kind of like if you go. I liken it to when we go to the Georgia Aquarium here. After you get all done, you spend $90 or something for the family of four to go. And then as you're walking out, it says, turn your today's pass into a yearly pass.
Right.
And, effectively, I mean, we've all been there, but, instead of $90, it might be 150 for the family. So they're going to try to get an extra $60 out of you. But you know what? After you've seen it, you're like, oh, this is pretty cool. I might want to come back and see it. I can only come back for $60 instead of 90, and then the next time it's free, or whatever, however
Right.
that works in your mind.
Right.
But girl math, right?
Yep.
Isn't that what they call it?
Yep.
So, CRM. I know. I don't know if we've had another show on that one. I know we've talked about
We
wanting to
have.
really delve into those. So I don't think we want to do that today. But do you have a thought process on how you went through or what you've done or
You know, I here's what I've tried different CRMs. I've done a lot of different things, and again, we've gone into depth, and we're going to go into more depth on that. I'd actually like to have some some of these principles and some of these CRMs on as guests and just explore differences and thought processes and that sort of thing. The bottom line for me is I think that while a CRM is important to have, and I think that you need to find one that you're okay working with, meaning that your business can conform and it can conform to your business and the two can mesh. The bottom line is that when I hear people say things like, "Oh, you have to have a this particular CRM or you can't scale," well, people were scaling home service businesses long before there were computers. So, is there more work involved? Is it tougher if you don't have the right CRM? Yes, but to say, "Oh, you have to have this one or you can't scale," is just hogwash. What do you think?
I agree. I mean, I agree with the premise that you can do it without it, but I have to be realistic. I don't know where I would be if I didn't have it.
Oh,
Even
no
if I
doubt.
tried to use just Excel, even if I tried to use whatever. I just think of the time savings, like
No doubt.
sending emails, sending a text alerts, or you risk showing up and they don't even know you're coming, and that's not good, right? So you
No doubt.
wasted the time. So I think that in that regard, it's important. I do know that each of them have their own pains. Some of them are supported better with staff, others aren't. Some have a better customer relationship premise than others. And I think at the end of the day, you have to decide what's important to you. For me, it's most important that the system be up and running and have limited downtime, or at least have a staff that can get it back up when there is a problem, because it's bound to be a problem. I mean, and oftentimes it's not even their fault, right? I mean, everybody uses Amazon services nowadays, so you see when that gets hacked, all of a sudden everything that you wouldn't even think uses Amazon for their networking or what have you is down. NFL stats
Right.
run on Amazon something or other and stuff like that. So I think that was important to me. We had snowstorms the last 2 weeks, or ice storm one time and snow the next week. And some things I learned about my current system is painful. I had to send out 50 emails. Now I copied and pasted, but it was a one by one by one by one, and that's just dumb. And hopefully my CRM will change that and do what I think
You and I
should be a
talked
pretty
about that.
easy thing.
Yep.
But currently it's not. So last Saturday,
Yep.
2 Saturdays ago, I did it, and then I had to do it again for this Saturday because snow came in. So in Atlanta, we don't play with snow or ice, so it wasn't much snow, and you would have been
Right.
laughing at us, Ben. But it is what it is. So I think it's critical. I think it adds to my work-life balance, if there's such
No
a thing
doubt.
that can be said. But it is critical.
I completely agree. My point is that I don't think that you need one specific one. I think you need to
For
look
sure.
at all of them, and I think that
For
you need
sure.
to decide which one works for you.
For sure.
And-
And there's a lot of companies that are saying, well, it's got to be specific to this industry or that industry
Right.
or whatever. I think that's hogwash. There's nothing
Yeah.
special about our industry.
No.
We have a vehicle and a driver that need to get to a spot, do a service, mark it complete, and go to the next stop. That's in, I don't know, probably 20 different industries. Think
Yep.
of all the industries we talk about, from lawn
Yep.
care to pest control to HVAC. I mean, it's all the same. So when I hear that, it always makes me chuckle a little bit, because there's nothing special about us.
Right.
I mean,
Yep.
our company, it's a style of business.
Okay. Why are there so many trucks for sale? I think I read this one at least once a week.
And if we could also, as an aside, stop talking or asking, why are you selling? It's obvious why they're selling. They're selling because they didn't make it, or they're not making it fast enough, or they have no more runway or money to keep making it.
Or they're expanding and doing well. It's one or the other.
I suppose.
Does it really matter?
That's very rare. Yeah,
It is,
and maybe
but-
that matters. But does it matter? I don't think it matters. I mean,
I don't
I
think so.
guess it might help you with pricing, because I guess if I went to you, Ben, and said, "Hey, I want to buy one of your old trucks," you're probably not going to give it to me for a song and a dance. But if you're going out of business and you can't pay the note next month, you're probably going to give it to me. I get that, but nobody's going to give lay their cards out. But why are there so many trucks for sale? I don't know. I think it's a hard business. It's every business is hard, and I think
Every business
this is really no different than any other business. I don't think, but I think mostly, the barrier to entry is a little high, but it's not crazy high. It's not like buying a piece of property and building a pizzeria, where you have to have equipment and land and building and roof, all that stuff. You can get into this business if you already have your own truck. You can get into it for $50,000 or $60,000. Hell, there's even other ones that you throw in the back of your truck for less, and that's brand new. So really, the barrier to entry isn't super high,
It's not.
and I think that's part of the problem. And then people want to be their own boss, and not everybody's meant to be their own boss.
No.
A lot of people are meant to rely on that check coming every other Friday, and there's nothing wrong with that by any stretch. I mean, there's many days that every other Friday didn't come for me and probably didn't come for you. When we own the business, I mean, now it's different, right? Now it comes whether we go out in the truck or not, which is great, and that's what that's the goal. At least it was for me, and I think for you as well.
Right.
So
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Last but not least, you and I have talked about this, and it's just crazy to me. And yes, I'm going to skip the one that you're laughing about.
Taco Bell. I'll talk about Taco Bell in a
Taco
minute.
Bell.
Hold on, folks.
Yeah. So I see these guys, speaking of equipment for sale, I mean, I see pictures of trucks for sale that are just filthy. And then I see them on
Yeah.
maintenance groups and they're filthy. And
Yeah.
I go, you're cleaning things and yet you show up in a filthy truck. It's one thing if it's dirty by the end of the day or even the end of the week, but I mean, there's like months worth of grime packed on these things. Wash your
Years worth of
truck.
grime. Years worth of grime.
Yeah, I don't,
I
that
mean,
one, I
some of
don't
these are
think,
just.
I don't think it had ever been
I
one.
wouldn't want them to pick up my trash and take it away from my house, let alone clean something. Oh my gosh. I heard a
Yeah,
wise woman, a Mrs. Magee, that said, "If your truck isn't clean, you're not cleaning my trash can, right?" Or so she said something along that lines. What did she say? Your
that's
your
right.
mother?
Yeah, my
Yeah.
mother when she lived in another state, and I was trying to get her cans cleaned, and I said, "Well, what about
Oh,
this
that's
company?"
right.
And she said, "Nope, I've seen their truck, and it was filthy. They're not cleaning anything for me."
But it's just we are in the clean business. Now I'm not saying it's going to be clean all the time, and maybe around the hopper it's going to be a little bit of a mess. I mean, I'll be honest, the back of my wrap looks rough, right? Because it gets sprayed.
Yeah,
But should I look into doing, and I definitely think I should I look into the next time I get a wrap, and what I'm planning on doing is having a second wrap just ready to go. Roll it up, put it in the office, and then, in 3 years you can refresh the rear of the truck, and that may just be all you need to do, potentially.
yeah.
But I mean, you gotta wash your truck. I mean,
You
it's
gotta
it's it's
wash your
just the
truck.
basics. I mean,
Yeah,
and then you it's funny as they talk about the maintenance thing. You see them in the maintenance thing, and you're like, well, you need to replace your solenoid and wash your truck. I don't say
yeah.
that, but I think I want to say
You'd
that, to
like
be
to,
honest.
you know,
You
replace
know,
the solenoid,
but
wash the truck, change the oil, wash the truck. You know.
yeah, I mean, at least that's every 5,000 miles. They would have. I mean, that would have been 30,000 miles ago. They would have at least washed it a couple, 3 times. But I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah, I
Where
don't
do you go
know.
to the bathroom, Ben? We're out on the road all day. What do you do when nature calls? When the Taco Bell goes through you, whether it's the liquid or the solids? Sometimes it's never solid from Taco Bell. How do you find the
Isn't
place? What
Taco
do you
Bell
do?
famous for that, Mike?
It is in my belly.
Okay, so couple different things. There's always a gas station. Also, you know, we're famous for stopping at the porta potties along the way. There's
Yes.
somebody's remodeling their house and there's a porta potty there. We're in. How about
Yep.
you?
Mine, honestly, I mean, if this isn't violating any HIPAA or anything, but I don't have a gallbladder anymore. So what I do, if I'm going out for a long day, I choose my meals differently than if I'm going out for a short day. So, but I do have my famous stops. There's a couple places, there's a couple routes I can think of. There's this one barbecue place that whenever I'm out there, I stop there. I time my route so I'm there at between 11 and 2, and I time my route. And there's a pizza place in Milton, Vintage Pizza. My gosh, it's delicious. And I'll go there, and it's like for $9 you get a soda, a pizza, and a salad because you got to add some roughage. But I do time that, and you just know. I mean, you know where the restrooms, whatever they call it, gas stations. Sorry, gas stations are, and like you said, new developments. Never have I asked my client to go. How about you?
No, never have I asked my client to go.
No.
I have had remodeled, where they're remodeling homes and they've got the porta potty sitting outside, and you
Yeah.
know, you go use that and you come out and the client's there bringing their cans in, and it's like, yeah, well,
You're like, hey,
have a great day. See
thanks,
ya.
thanks for your
Okay.
fifth bathroom. We appreciate it.
Yep. Okay.
But
Well, Mike, this has
excellent.
been
Well, this
fun
has been a
today.
good one. What's
Yeah.
that?
I said this has been
Yeah,
fun today. I appreciate the time, and thanks everyone for
absolutely.
joining
And
us.
if anybody
And
has any other questions, certainly leave some comments here, and we'll answer them to the best of our ability. But definitely, we appreciate you taking the time to like the video, and hopefully you subscribe, and hopefully we're giving you some value. If not, maybe a couple chuckles. That's kind of kind of my goal in life. So let's see if we can make this happen there. So appreciate your time, Ben. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mike.
Well, Ben, that's a wrap on another episode of The Route to Revenue. If you enjoyed this episode, we'd love it if you would hit like, subscribe, and leave us old guys a comment about what we did well. And if we did anything wrong, can it and keep it to yourself.
If today's strategy sparked some ideas for your business, don't keep them to yourself. Share this episode with a fellow entrepreneur who could benefit from these insights.
Remember, building a recurring revenue business, it's not about perfection, it's about progress. Take one actionable step from today's discussion and implement it in your business this week.
Want to connect with us between episodes? Find us on Facebook or at our website. We'd love to hear how you're applying these concepts in your own home service business.
And until next time, keep building those recurring revenue streams and stay on the route to revenue.
The route to revenue.
Nice, Ben.